Gorilla versus polar bear. Alright team, let's settle this once and for all. For months, you've been flooding my comments with this one burning question. Patrick, what wins in a fight? A silverback gorilla or a polar bear? A 600-pound forest genius with arms like steel cables and intelligence that rivals humans versus a 1,200-pound Arctic killing machine with claws that can slice through seal blubber like butter. Well, today we're finally ending the debate, not with hype or Reddit arguments, but with cold, hard science. We're diving into bite forces that crush bones, punch power that shatters skulls, and the shocking truth about which predator has the real edge when raw biology meets in the ultimate showdown. This isn't about promoting fights, it's about understanding two of evolution's most incredible creations. Trust me, the results will blow your mind. The contestants. Built for different wars? Meet the silverback gorilla. First up, the silverback gorilla, and I know half of you are already team gorilla. 300 to 600 pounds of pure muscle and intelligence. These forest titans didn't evolve to hunt, but don't let that fool you. A silverback's upper body strength is 4 to 9 times stronger than a human's. With arm spans reaching 8.5 feet, their bone density is off the charts, built to withstand falls from massive trees and brutal fights with other silverbacks. When they beat their chests, it's not just for show. It's advertising raw power that can literally bend steel bars. Meet the polar bear. Now, Team Polar Bear, here's your champion. Up to 1,200 pounds of Arctic fury. These are the largest land carnivores on Earth, and here's what gets me. They're perfectly designed for one thing: killing. Their massive paws deliver sledgehammer blows that can shatter seal skulls in one hit. Those 4-inch claws aren't just for gripping ice. They're razor-sharp weapons that can disembowel prey with a single swipe. And that bite? We're talking about bone-crushing force, specifically evolved to tear through thick blubber and break ribs. Size matters, the numbers don't lie. Let's address the elephant in the room, and I mean that literally because we're talking about massive size differences here. A prime silverback maxes out around 600 pounds, while a massive polar bear can hit 1,200 plus pounds. That's literally double the weight advantage. But here's what's crazy. It's not just weight, it's how that mass is distributed. The polar bear's entire body is a weapon. Every pound is built for delivering devastating attacks, while the gorilla's strength is designed for forest navigation and social displays. Standing height? The gorilla reaches about 6 feet upright, while a polar bear towers at 10 feet on its hind legs. It's like watching a heavyweight boxer face off against a giant. The math is brutal, team. In any physical confrontation, mass and leverage create momentum. The polar bear doesn't just outweigh the gorilla, it completely dwarfs it. Weapons analysis. What actually kills polar bear? Arsenal. The polar bear's weapons are literally designed for killing large, dangerous prey. That 1,200 psi bite force, it's built to crush walrus skulls and slice through 6-inch thick seal hides. But the real killer is those paw swipes. A polar bear's forearm can deliver over 1,500 pounds of force in a single hit, enough to break a moose's spine. Those claws don't just scratch, they eviscerate. Gorilla weapons. The gorilla fights with different tools. No claws but those fists. They can deliver devastating blunt force trauma. A silverback's punch could easily break human bones, and their 1,300 psi bite is nothing to joke about. Their real advantage is grappling power. Those arms can literally bend steel, and their grip strength is legendary. If a gorilla gets you in a bear hug, you're not getting out. The first strike analysis. Now I can already hear Team Gorilla saying, "But Patrick, the gorilla is smarter. It could land the first punch." And you know what? You're absolutely right to think that, so let's get insanely specific and freeze time at that critical first strike. The gorilla, with its incredible intelligence, sees the 1,200-pound freight train charging. It holds its ground and unleashes a punch. A gorilla's punch is pure, focused, blunt force trauma. Think of a sledgehammer hitting a concrete wall. The force is designed to crush and break. If that punch lands square on the polar bear's skull, jaw, or ribs, it could absolutely cause a fracture, stun the animal, or cause serious internal damage. The gorilla's advantage is precision and raw, crushing power. Now, the polar bear's swipe. This is not just a punch. It's a 100-pound limb, moving with terrifying speed, and it has 4-inch razor blades on the end. This strike delivers 2 types of damage at once: immense concussive force from the impact, and deep, penetrating wounds from the claws. Think of it this way: the gorilla's punch is like Getting hit by a sledgehammer, devastating blunt force, but the polar bear's swipe? That's like being hit by that same sledgehammer that someone has glued giant kitchen knives to. The force alone can break a moose's spine. The claws can rip through 6 inches of blubber. For sheer fight-ending potential, combining crushing power with flesh-tearing weapons gives one animal a terrifying edge. The reality check. Here's the brutal truth that I know some of you don't want to hear. The polar bear's weapons are designed to penetrate and kill. Claws that slice, teeth that puncture, paws that crush. The gorilla's weapons are built for blunt force and grappling. It's a knife fight versus a boxing match, and the knife usually wins. The intelligence factor. Can brains beat brawn? This is where it gets interesting, and where Team Gorilla gets their hopes up. Gorillas are incredibly intelligent. They use tools, solve complex problems, and even learn sign language. Could superior intelligence give our gorilla the edge? In a forest environment, absolutely. A gorilla could use rocks, branches, even tactical retreats up trees. But here's the problem. In a direct confrontation, there's no time for strategy. A charging 1,200-pound polar bear gives you about 3 seconds before impact. That's not enough time to grab a weapon, plan an escape, or outsmart anything. When a freight train is coming at you, intelligence takes a back seat to survival. The gorilla's best tactical advantage? Knowing when not to fight. In the wild, gorillas avoid predators through intelligence, not combat. Environment decides everything. Location changes everything. In the Arctic, our gorilla dies of hypothermia before the fight even starts. In a jungle, the polar bear overheats and becomes a sitting duck. So let's make it fair. Neutral ground, temperate climate. Now we're talking about pure physical capability with no environmental advantages. Even on neutral ground, the polar bear's tools remain lethal, while the gorilla's environment-based advantages disappear. Those climbing skills, useless on flat ground. That forest agility, meaningless in open space. The verdict. Environment can save the gorilla by avoiding the fight entirely, but in a direct confrontation, location barely matters against such overwhelming physical advantages. Now, I know this is where I make half of you very happy, and the other half want to write. Let's call them strongly worded comments. Team Gorilla, I see you and I respect you. But after breaking down every single biological factor, here's the brutal reality. Polar bear wins 85% of the time in a direct confrontation. The gorilla's 15% chance comes from one scenario, landing a perfect shot to a vulnerable spot before the bear can retaliate. We're talking about threading the needle with incredible precision while a massive predator is trying to kill you. But here's what's truly shocking. This isn't about which animal is better. It's about evolutionary specialization. The polar bear evolved to kill large, dangerous prey. The gorilla evolved for intelligence, social cooperation, and forest survival. It's like comparing a Formula 1 race car to a monster truck. Both are incredible machines, but they're built for completely different purposes. The real winner? Evolution itself. These animals represent millions of years of perfect adaptation to their environments. The polar bear is the Arctic's ultimate predator, while the gorilla is the forest's ultimate survivor. This thought experiment teaches us that there's no single ultimate animal, just incredible specialists perfectly designed for their worlds. Conclusion. So there you have it. The polar bear's size, weapons, and predatory experience give it the decisive advantage in a hypothetical showdown. But here's what this analysis really means to me. It reminds me how incredible these animals are, and honestly, it breaks my heart that they're both in trouble. I don't want my future kids to only see gorillas and polar bears in videos like this one. Both species face real threats from climate change and habitat loss. Instead of imagining fights, let's focus on preserving these incredible evolutionary masterpieces for future generations. What other epic animal matchups would you want to see analyzed with science? Drop your suggestions in the comments. Smash that like button if this blew your mind, and subscribe for more incredible wildlife content. This is Patrick from Speculative Science, and remember, nature doesn't create fighters, it creates survivors. And both of these animals are absolute masters of survival in their own domains.